What is going on, crypto peeps? So today I wanted to go over a Bitcoin update. What is the deal with the futures? What is the future of futures? I wanted to go over the coin check hack, but most importantly, I wanted to do a Bitcoin giveaway for the 7,000 subscribers. Crazy that between the time I announced it a day ago and today we're almost at 8,000 subscribers. So I'll probably do another one at 8, or I might hold off to do a bigger one at 10. Haven't decided yet because 8 is just a few hundred subscribers away. And then we'll be also doing technical analysis on 3 coins that you guys chose in the Discord. If you're not part of the Discord, again, join it. It's free. And those 3 coins that you guys picked are Tron, STEEM, and Pay. And lastly, I wanted to say thank you to those who subscribe to the Patreon. The trade alerts are on fire. We've already had a couple of winning trades and some great long-term hold suggestions that we dished out to you guys. So look out for those. All right, let's get right to the video and the Bitcoin giveaway. All right, let's get right into the Bitcoin giveaway. So go to the comment picker. And for those of you that are leaving the comments multiple times, just know that it doesn't increase your chances of winning because this thing actually filters out by unique comments. So just know that. Hopefully it's a crypto address. All right, winner, Omnic Sage. Great stuff, man. Looking forward to each video. Keep it up. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for leaving your crypto address in the comments. Let us give you some Bitcoin. All right, got your address in Binance, 0.002 Bitcoin, submit, bam. There you go. Thank you so much, Omnic Sage, for your support, and congratulations on winning the Bitcoin giveaway. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about today was the first thing that's probably on everybody's mind, and that's Bitcoin. Bitcoin overnight had suffered basically a massive dip, or not a massive dip, but it was a really sharp decline. And for those of you that were up at this time, people were getting their stop losses ready, including me. I had a stop loss set at 10,140, but it's this decline right here that happened a little after midnight, I believe, West Coast time, or a little before midnight, sorry, West Coast time. But it was a sharp decline and it looked like Bitcoin was tanking, was not a good look. Thankfully, it recovered. It looks like it formed sort of a cup and handle right after that into the morning. And a cup and handle is usually a bullish signal, but because of the negative news surrounding Bitcoin in January, along with still the hype about the futures and whatnot, I didn't expect this to be a fully bullish signal. I actually thought that Bitcoin would sustain this drop a little bit more, but thankfully it didn't. And it formed this kind of rectangular continuation shortly thereafter the cup and handle. And now it's back up. It's, you know, showing some strength. It's back up over the resistance line that was formed in the rectangular channel after the cup and handle. And we're seeing it's kind of struggling to get over 11,100, 11,200. But we're looking for it to significantly break out from that. But I think that the fuss surrounding the futures is pretty much over. I mean, we'll see when the actual settlement date happens on the 31st. But I'm hoping to get to a point, man, where Bitcoin is not susceptible to such minuscule news or news that's insignificant. Because, you know, a set of futures on one futures market shouldn't affect an asset, especially a big asset like Bitcoin that has a large market cap. And I guess we can talk about the story right now, but the NASDAQ just announced that it will be launching Bitcoin futures as well. And the reason that I think that's good is because the more exchanges support these Bitcoin futures, the less of an effect a single Bitcoin future story will have on Bitcoin. And I really like the way that Bitcoin quickly bounced back from this scary dip that happened overnight. And now it's kind of trying to normalize and find its way. It's still a far cry from the 17,000 that we were a couple of weeks ago, but it's definitely better than staying in this dip for a long time. At least this happened overnight, and it seemed like people just didn't give a shit about it later on. All right, so the 3 coins that you guys chose were Tron, STEEM, and Pay. So let's go over Tron. And Tron is interesting because Tron has sustained quite a wave of bad news over the last few weeks. And the bad news was basically in the form of the fact that their white paper was plagiarized. Some people thought it was a big deal, some didn't. I personally didn't think it was a huge deal, as in I didn't think that it had a fundamental effect on what they were trying to do technology-wise. I do know from my experience working in China and working with Chinese companies that there is kind of and I don't mean this disparagingly at all, I'm just talking from a business sense, there is kind of this tendency to plagiarize it. It's part of the business culture in China. I mean, you look at their biggest corporations and they're basically copycats of American corporations. Everything from software to manufacturing. So like their planes are based off of Boeing blueprints. They have their own Facebook, they have their own Twitter, and these are just technologies that arose somewhere else that China was able to either get a hold of the blueprints or reverse engineer themselves and implement their own Chinese version of it. So I really didn't think that the plagiarized white paper, in my opinion, was a big deal. Now, if you have underlying concerns about the technology in general, that's fair. But in terms of, if you're just pointing to the white paper and saying, oh yeah, Tron is a bust because of a plagiarized white paper. I mean, let's be honest, the idea of a white paper in general is ridiculous to me. The fact that a white paper gives a coin validation or not is somewhat tenuous to me. Because a white paper is exactly what it sounds like. It's just a Microsoft Word document that's written up that anyone can write up. So does it really speak to what they're trying to do from a technical perspective? In my opinion, it doesn't. But it's still not a good look for the project team, for sure. Now, if we look at the 1 hour chart for Tron, it's actually very promising. So initially, it had this huge surge in the beginning of the year. And you could see that the buy volume in general was ginormous. I mean, they were trading upwards of $4 billion a day in volume. And you could see the volume, what it is currently. It's minuscule compared to where it was before. And a lot of it has to do with this, I guess media hurricane surrounding Tron. But from a technical analysis standpoint, I mean, if we just do simple technical analysis, you can draw a trend line from the top of the bull run down here. Let's get the fib retracement out. The fib retracement is a good candidate for this type of chart. And you could see that Tron's price is well below the first two fib ratios, which means that it's a good point of entry, barring any other external news that might have an effect on Tron. But this is a good point of entry for Tron. So even if you're setting this first fib level as your initial price target and saying, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to take profits right here. That is what, at 820 Satoshis, and currently it's at 597 Satoshis. So you're gaining what, like 37% on your money just off of the first profit level. So you can even buy here, hoping that it, using the first fib level as your target, and saying that you'll take profits there and make 37% on your money. Obviously, with something like Tron, I would recommend implementing a stop loss. I would say somewhere around this support level right here. So you're talking 548 maybe, if you're trying to be conservative. You could set it at this bottom, this reverse head and shoulders that occurred back in January 16th. You could set it to 433. I mean, Tron is cheap enough to where you could probably get a little more liberal with your stop losses. So you might set it there, but Tron essentially is probably a really good buy right now. Now, if we're going away from the technicals for a second, if we look at potential external news that could affect Tron, there was a tweet by Justin Sun saying that Tron would announce that they'd be on another exchange coming soon, because currently they're on a limited number of exchanges. But they were going to add a big exchange to their repertoire. And that could be huge news for Tron, especially since it's suffering in the volume department. I think what's stopping Tron from really seeing a massive run-up again is volume. And again, you don't need a massive run-up for Tron. I would actually just set this first fib level, this 820, as the target and just take profits from there. And maybe if I felt like being cheeky or whatever, I can set the next fib level or somewhere in between there as a possible second area of taking profits. But if you just sold right here, you'd be doing fine at 37% from what the current price is. All right, let's look at Steem. So this is the one-day chart for Steem. And Steem is funny because it deals in such low increments, this chart doesn't look like there's a lot of, I guess, opportunity here. But this is actually a massive percentage gain. So if we take the ruler tool, where is that? And we measure from, I guess, the bottom of this to the top of the bull run. Look at the percentage. This is actually around 433% gain. And Steem is one that I really like to day trade a lot, and I take advantage of the dips and the patterns. It's one where you can actually see pretty easy patterns forming, and they're almost perfectly drawn patterns. So here you see you have let me get the paint tool out real quick. Here you have a head and shoulders forming. Here you have a larger head and shoulders forming. Here you have kind of a rounding bottom forming. Here you have another rounding bottom forming. Here you have another rounding bottom forming. So it kind of likes to move in patterns, and it's a really easy asset to day trade, or at least swing trade, because we're looking at the one-day chart, even though this looks like a 1-minute chart of a lot of other coins. I've made a couple 100% off Tron in the past, and if you guys are comfortable making, going in and out of trades, I would recommend Steem for anybody who's looking to take advantage of swings like that, because it's a very swingy type of asset. And again, this might not look like a lot, but if you grab this ruler tool here, and what this does is it can basically measure the percentage rise or percentage loss from one point to the next. You could see that it's upwards of 400% from the bottom of this bull run to the top. So there's a lot of opportunity to make with Steem. People like it because it's cheap. It does. I like it because it's very readable. It's a very readable chart. In terms of the tech, I mean, I don't know how much Steem is. I guess like blockchain, social media is something that might be a good opportunity for the future. I know that people don't like the fact that they can't delete things really or edit things really because it's stored in the blockchain. If you lose your password, you're basically fucked. I don't know how many people would take to that idea. Even though the idea of social media being stored on the blockchain is cool, I don't know how many people would be, I don't know how mainstream it would go. Let's just say that. And you see this, I guess the symptom of a lot of coins post ICO where they come in and they just suffer a massive dip once they hit the market. And that's why I've talked to a lot of you on the Discord, and you've asked my opinion on certain ICOs. And I'm not a huge proponent of ICOs in general, unless I intimately know the development team and the people behind it. But that's a huge reason why, is that you can actually grab the coin once it hits the market. You can test the market reaction and pick up the coins for near what they would have been pre-ICO or at ICO. So I would much rather be dealing with data. I'm a very data-driven trader in that regard. There are certain ICOs that I've invested in just because I've known the development team or gotten to know the technology really well and believe in it. But most of the time, I'm not really the correct person or the resource to look for ICO information. So in terms of trading Tron, look at the patterns, look at the one-day chart, look at the 4-hour chart, see what patterns. Even the 4-hour chart, I mean, there's just clean head and shoulders patterns. There's clean bull flags. You can really make some pretty stark determinations based off of these charts alone, not knowing much about the technology, and just trade those. Again, look at the Trading Trends 101 here. We list a lot of the patterns, the technical analysis. We list a lot of the basic technical analysis patterns that you'll see. You'll see the cup and handle, you see the head and shoulders, you'll see the bull flags, the rising wedges, and you'll be able to notice these for yourself. And if you need one-on-one help with the technical analysis training, there is an option in the Patreon for that. I'm also always on the Discord, and I'm always answering people's questions on the Trading Talk channels. People have a lot of questions about technical analysis and how to do it. So either catch me on there or sign up to the Patreon. We'll do one-on-one sessions. But the reason that I like Steem is it's very easy to trade. Currently, because it's had this massive run-up on the 24th of January, I would probably hold off until there's another dip before I invest in Steem. But in terms of a long-term hold, you might get away with making a play now, hoping to get back to the levels that it was previously over the summer when altcoins had a major surge and Bitcoin was kind of in a lull. But yeah, keep your eye out on Steem. I'd wait until the RSI is a bit lower. I'd wait until there's kind of a downtrend in the MACD after it crosses over. I would wait for maybe a little more sell in the volume level and for the price to actually come down before making a play on it. I don't plan on holding Steem long term at the moment, but who knows? My opinions might change depending on other coins and investments that I have at the moment. So let's look at Pay. And Pay is part of the 10X project that I'm actually really excited about. I feel like this, just based on the tech and what I've read so far and the videos that I've watched and the background research that I did on the technical team, Pay is one of these Ripple types that I think will make a big surge in the mainstream. And part of Pay's objective is to consolidate all of these currencies, some of which have a traditionally long transfer time, like Bitcoin or even the US dollar. If you've ever tried to wire something to somebody in another country, you'll know that it could take days. So what it tries to do is consolidate all these currencies into one app and allows you to use this protocol for sending payments no matter what the currency is. And they promise that, one, it's backed by the blockchain, and two, that it's speedier than what you would experience normally with that currency. And you can read up on them a little more, and I encourage you to, but one thing that I really liked was that the roadmap seems realistic and is not overly ambitious. So if you look at their dates, they're actually not predicting that they'll have anything ready before 2019, 2020. So there's something to really watch out for with regards to Pay and 10X, even if you're not looking at the chart or the technicals, just based on the project alone. Now, if you look at the chart, again, you'll see that it suffers from what I was saying, a lot of post-ICOs. Once they hit the market, you see this dip. And that is why I don't really invest in ICOs again, because you can get the coin for cheap once it hits the market. There's really 1 out of a million will become Ethereum or Icon or one of these. So taking a look at the one-day chart, again, during the summer of last year was the summer of alts, and Bitcoin was kind of in a lull. So you see with a lot of alts, you're going to see this common theme where there's a surge and this kind of hill or this mole that happens over the summer. And then the latter half of last year was the year of Bitcoin, where the alts took a dive. Most of the alts took a dive, and Bitcoin saw a massive surge. In terms of profit potential here, let's try to look at the shorter increments. So there's quite a bit of volatility in the 15-minute charts, but not quite enough variance. So if you look at the level between, sorry, let me just take this out. If you look at the level between the bottom here and the top over the last few days, you'll see that this only represents 10%. So it's not like what we saw with Steem. I've taken a look at Pay a few times to see if there was day trading opportunities, and there wasn't. I do own some Pay, and it's something that I plan on holding long term. So if we look at their day chart, which is a more longer term outlook, at least in crypto, and we look at the fib retracement, I guess it's a good thing. If you're trying to hold something long term, it's a good thing if there's not a ton of volatility, and this doesn't really seem that volatile. Even if you're trying to, like I said, if you're trying to day trade it, you're going to be disappointed because it's not that volatile. But even if you look at a fib retracement, and let's take from the top of the fib retracement to where it is now. So what is this price up here? So this is 174,606 satoshis, and currently it's at 21,000. So there's a good potential for profits long term if you're assuming that you're buying here and that it will once hit the peaks that it hit. And I think that Pay does have the potential to do that, and not really based on so much of the technicals, but based on the news that's coming out and the development team behind it. Now, again, long term, yes, I would say if you have the liquidity and you're looking for somewhere to put your money, Pay is a good area of diversification. So you're not just holding on to Bitcoin and Ethereum and that's it, or Ripple and Bitcoin and that's it. Pay is definitely one where you want to diversify into if you are planning on playing the long-term game. If you're a day trader, a swing trader, it's probably not on your radar, and I wouldn't put it on your radar. even when you take a look at something like the MACD down here, there isn't much activity. Like these things aren't really crossing that often. They're not diverging or converging often. And you don't see any surges in this. Even the RSI, I mean, when has it really appeared oversold or overbought? I mean, it rarely crosses this 70 threshold or this 30 threshold. It's a pretty stagnant security, and that might be a good thing for the long term. I mean, this might be the Intel of coins, where you know, over the years, you don't really see a massive run up, but it's a great security to hold. And when the project does perform well, or when you start hearing great news about it, you will see a solid increase in your holdings. So it's probably a safe place to park your money. It's probably a safe long-term bet. And it's definitely a great project from what we know thus far. And it seems like it would be one of these that would survive a coin bubble after the bubble happens, and it will happen. We just don't know when. So the last piece of news I wanted to talk about with this was this coin check story, and this is a fucking tragedy here. And not just the fact that there was a theft or $534 million worth of NEM were stolen, but that this coin check exchange, which is based in Japan, they were keeping their stash in a hot wallet. I mean, if you don't know what a hot wallet is, you hear the term cold storage, and I know that because in the Discord, people ask me about cold storage opportunities all the time. And cold storage is basically, you know, like a Ledger Nano or a Trezor. It's something that's offline that you keep your coins in. But a hot wallet is something that's connected to a network. So like the Exodus wallet that I have here would be considered a hot wallet when connected. I don't really understand how you can operate as an exchange that deals with, I mean, I really don't know what CoinCheck's volume is, but if they have $534 million of just NEM, I'm sure that they're dealing with some kind of volume. That's just a travesty to me. It's hilarious. I don't even know what to say. Except for watch out on the exchanges that you use. I know there's exchanges like a coin, what is it called? Coin exchange, Hit BTC. Watch out what you use and find out where they're based and find out if the people behind them are transparent. You know, people were asking me about Binance and is it safe because it's based in Hong Kong or it's tied to Hong Kong. And the CEO of Binance is very transparent. He does interviews on American television. You know, he used to work as an investment banker or at an investment banking firm, and he's well known and he makes himself transparent. So just watch out where you exchange on. And if you do exchange on these shady exchanges, make sure you're not keeping your stash on there. Make sure it's just a transactional amount that gets you in and out of the security that you want, and then transfer your coins over to something like Binance or a cold storage if you have enough coins, or even something like Exodus where you can, you know, keep it offline if you need to. Initially, they thought that a bunch of Ripple was stolen from this exchange, but if you look here, the story was amended to say that no other cryptocurrencies, including Ripple, were stolen. So for those of you that are obsessed with Ripple, and we know there's a lot of you out there, don't worry, Ripple is safe. All right, that's my time. I'll be taking votes in the Discord for which coins to discuss next. Subscribe here for more crypto talk, trading strategy, and crypto news. Leave your comments with your crypto addresses in the comments. Leave a thumbs up. Check out the Patreon if there are trade alerts or another service that you're looking for. Again, it's absolutely optional. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for almost 8,000 subscribers. Join the Discord, it's free, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.